All right, and we are live. Thanks for hanging out with us. I'm Kat Shear, and this is a special presentation from Clydesdale Media. Before we get started with our special guest, I'd like to remind everyone about some special offers from our sponsors. RX Smart Gear provides world-class jump ropes, grips, and other gear for us all. Use the code Clydesdale15 for 15% off your order at rxsmartgear.com. Mobility Movement, it's a program that teaches you how to increase your capacity to heal, reduce recovery time, and restore your nervous system to peak health. Everyone gets a 7-day trial, and after that 7-day trial, our followers will get their first month free when they use the code Clydesdale Free Month at mobilitymovement.com. That's mobilitymovment.com. And last but not least, C4 Energy, delivering the most effective, best tasting, and highest quality products. Get 20% off when you use the code Clydesdale at checkout at c4energy.com. That's C, the number 4, energy.com. And today on Meet the Athlete, we have Syndicate Crown semifinalist Ellia Miller. Ellia, thanks for your time and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Kat. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, for sure. So you are going into the semifinals, or starting with the quarterfinals, 115th. Is that your official ranking? Great.
Yep, that's where I ended up.
Perfect. Hey, that's all you needed to do, right?
Yeah.
You are in. You're 30 years old.
Mm-hmm.
You are in the service?
I am. I'm in the Army National Guard.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, appreciate your service. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
And you belong to Cobra Command CrossFit.
Yes, I just started out here. I grew up in California, moved to New Jersey around 2016, lived there for a couple years, and then I just moved out to Kansas end of September of last year, and I've been at Cobra Command since then. Was
that an intentional move for CrossFit?
Yes. I moved out here to work with Jill Glassnap of Grit Performance. She also coaches Jacob Hepner and Olivia Kirksetter. And I was looking to, basically last year, I finished about 100 spots outside of semifinals, and I wanted to make the jump to semifinals. So decided to come out here and work with Jill with the goal of making it to the games.
Here you go. And you're on your way. That's awesome. So tell me a little bit about how you got into CrossFit.
So I grew up dancing, and I was a gymnast for about 12 years. Around middle of high school, I ended up quitting both dance and gymnastics. Went to college. I did ROTC in college for the Army, but I was not in any way, shape, or form athletic or fit at the time. When I graduated from college, I was walking around about 185, 190. Not in a good way, eating a lot of fast food, drinking a lot of alcohol. And because I was in ROTC in undergrad, I commissioned into the Army when I graduated. And a little bit after that, I realized that I was going to have to take a PT test for the Army very soon. And at the time, I probably wouldn't have passed a PT test, which in order to pass at the time, you needed to run a 2-mile run in like 19 minutes. And I don't think I would have been able to do that. So I ended up finding a gym that was just opening next to where I was working at the time. And they had like a try it for a week for free. So I tried it out. It was a strength and conditioning gym. I ended up really enjoying it. We kind of dabbled in CrossFit, but it wasn't officially CrossFit. And I got initially into powerlifting and then started a little bit of Olympic lifting. And then in 2016, I moved to New Jersey to start grad school. And I wanted to continue Olympic lifting when I got to New Jersey, but I didn't know where else to go besides a CrossFit gym. So I ended up in a CrossFit gym in New Jersey, did my first official CrossFit Open in 2017 and fell in love and went from there.
Very cool. So back to your earlier days, gymnastics and dance. What made you stop?
So I was doing both for a while, and I was competitive in both. I got to a point probably around middle school maybe where I had to choose one or the other because I just didn't have time to do both. At the time, my older brother and sister were also both dancers. So I chose dance to stay with the family. So I stopped gymnastics a little bit before I stopped dance, just because of time constraints. And then I danced for about 15 years, I think. And I ended up leaving the studio just because there was a lot of drama going on with it. If you've ever seen the show Dance Moms, it felt a lot like that.
Okay.
And so I didn't want to deal with the drama anymore, and I wanted to kind of focus on school and getting ready to leave for college in a couple years. So I ended up leaving my dance studio.
Okay. Yeah, I grew up as a dancer too, but not in the era of competitions. So I don't have, any purview into that world except for what I see on television. But I too quit around that same time, like middle of high school. It was like you get a boyfriend and, social life is a little more important. And you realize maybe that you're not going to go on to be a professional dancer. At least that was what it was like for me.
Yeah.
And it was at that point too that I started to struggle with my weight a little bit because I was dancing constantly and eating constantly, and then I stopped.
Yep. Yeah, I had the same struggle. Especially, I mean, I would go to school and I would go straight to the dance studio after school every day.
Yep.
And the only really food we had access to was a convenience store, like a mini mart across the street from the studio. And so I was eating, my dinner would be like a bag of chips, a bottle of soda, and a candy bar. And when I stopped dancing, I didn't change my eating habits, and I put on a lot of weight after that.
Mm-hmm. And so it was really going into the military then, and that the onus of that military test coming up that sort of got you into shape.
Yeah, at the time, I mean, when I was in ROTC in undergrad, we did PT, physical training, but it wasn't really much. We'd maybe do a circuit for 15 minutes of, do some push-ups and do some sit-ups and then lunge. But it wasn't, the people writing the workouts were the cadets, us. So, and none of us really knew what we were doing. So, so it wasn't a lot. I did what they made me do. But at the time I hated any form of physical activity, which is wild to think that I'm where I am now.
Yeah. Well, dance too is a little bit anaerobic. I don't think people realize that, but it's very much like short bursts.
Yes.
A piece is maybe 3 minutes long. A long piece is 4 or 5 minutes long. So same way, like I'm not a cardio queen at all. Like big, were you like a jumping dancer? Were you strong at jumps and spins, or were you more into like lyrical?
I liked the jumping. I liked the leaps. I liked the, fouettes, pirouettes, all that kind of stuff. I really actually enjoyed tap. Tap was a lot of fun, but that was some of the hardest stuff.
Funny story. So I trained in classical ballet my whole life. And then when I was about 14, I switched dance schools, and it was like a performance dance school. It was more I learned how to sort of use my body. I was technically very good, but I looked like a robot. So I learned how to sort of emote when I danced, and they had tap. And I decided to try tap. And I kid you not, I was in a class with like 6-year-olds, and I'm 15 years old doing tap. I was in tears after the first, I never took another class. So dance is all up and tap is all down. And it's just a completely different, I gave up. I can do like 2 little things, and it was terrifying to me. So tap is hard.
Yeah, I loved it though.
You are diversified.
Maybe that's why it was the down and being like grounded. Right. I liked that.
How about body image too? Because again, I'm just going to compare you to me from my own experiences, because we come from that same background, and we do CrossFit now. I had a hard time with, the muscle mass. Dancers are very thin up top, and, lots of leg strength, not a whole lot of upper body strength. Did you struggle with that either physically or mentally getting into it? I know, my mom hates my body right now, like, my muscles. It's kind of like she's not used to it.
Yeah. I mean, so I never really had like the dancer's body. I've always been a little bit bigger. I think a lot of that came from gymnastics. Okay. So I was always kind of broader up top. My biggest struggle with body image came when I stopped dance and put on a lot of weight. And I mean, I look back at pictures comparing then to now, and I can see a massive difference, but I still to this day struggle with it. And a lot of times I think of myself as that 190-pound unathletic version of me that I used to be. And It's hard, but I always try to remind myself just to be really proud of what my body is capable of. And it really doesn't matter what I look like right now. Um, you know, okay, yeah, I put on a lot of muscle. People say I'm jacked, whatever. But to me, it's not about that. It's about seeing what I can do. When you throw weight on the bar and I can still lift it, or when I can run 2 miles a lot faster than 19 minutes.
Right.
So that is that's what I always have to remind myself. It doesn't matter what I look like in the mirror or in a picture or whatever. It matters what I'm capable of and what I'm willing to do with my body.
Yeah, I love that. And I think CrossFit too is the perfect way to get your body to express itself physically the way it's supposed to. Right? It's just everybody is different, right? Some people carry more weight up top, below, skinny waist, thick waist, whatever. But I think when we do CrossFit and we push our bodies to the limit, the result is that expression of that movement and functionality, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah. So let's talk about this season a little bit. Take us through, the open and the quarterfinals, the experiences for you.
Yeah. So started off the open 22.1. A little disappointed in my performance in the very first open workout, but I don't think any elite CrossFitter is ever completely satisfied with their performance. I think we always want to be better. But got through the open 22.2, 22.3. I was actually really excited about 22.3, just seeing some of the massive improvements I've made in kind of like my gymnastic skill and that capacity piece of things. Finished the open, I don't remember exactly where. I was in the 99th percentile.
Okay.
I knew all I needed was top 10%. So with this new structure, the open kind of has become less of a competition and more of just like a necessary get through it.
Yep.
But then went into quarterfinals. Quarterfinals is where I got nervous because quarterfinals is where I missed the cut last year. I finished 231 last year and I needed to sneak into that top 120. So I was really lucky that Olivia Kirksetter, she also did quarterfinals. So I got to do the workouts next to her, cool. Which was amazing. It's so nice to have her there to push me and to see like, okay, this is, what's physically possible. I mean, she finished 8th in North America.
Yeah, not too shabby.
Yeah, at 16 years old.
Unreal.
But went through quarterfinals.
You did all your shuttle runs.
I did all my shuttle runs.
No penalties.
No penalties. I got my videos reviewed, accepted, no penalties. I was super happy about that.
Are you on the shorter side? Are you like 5'3"?
I'm like 5'4" on a good day.
Okay. So how'd you like those 10-foot wall balls?
It's tall.
Yeah.
I make do, but it's tall.
Yeah. Fellow shorty over here.
Yeah, I'm one of those people that you get to the last couple reps and I'm like jumping the ball every time.
Sure.
But I'm getting better.
Have you had any in-person competition experience? Have you done like Wadapalooza or any other larger ones that we may have heard of?
So I did Granite Games on a team of 3 back in 2017.
Wow. Okay.
So a while ago, I met these 2 girls in a Facebook group that were looking for a 3rd girl for their team. We did the qualifier and we just barely snuck into the RX division. I think there was about 5 teams ahead of us that declined their invite. So we got a backfill invite to the RX division to Granite Games. That was a lot of fun because there was nowhere to go but up.
Sure.
But that was, I mean, Granite Games was well known at the time, but not nearly as big as it is now. So that's like the biggest competition I ever did. I've done local competitions here and there, and I've done like a lot of online qualifiers and stuff like that. But I'm excited for Syndicate. It's gonna be big, and I can't wait.
Super big, right? It's like you've made it. I assume this is sort of the pinnacle of your season. Like making it to the semifinals was the goal, I assume, for this year?
So when I moved out here, yes.
Okay.
More recently, the goal has been the games. So
Okay.
I'm gonna go into Syndicate and I'm gonna put everything out there and I'm gonna fight for a top 5 spot.
Awesome. Awesome. What is your today's a rest day, I assume, correct? What does a normal rest day look like for you?
It depends on the day, the week. A lot of, grocery shopping, laundry, meal prep, just typical stuff like that. Some mobility, maybe. Netflix.
Netflix, love it. Are you watching anything good right now?
Ooh, I just started a show on Hulu. It's
Mm.
called Candy. It's Jessica Biel is playing a woman named Candy. It's about a true crime story from the 80s.
Ooh.
It's been pretty good so far.
Jessica Biel. Who is Jessica Biel? Who's she married to?
I think Justin Timberlake.
Yes. Okay. I was thinking Jennifer Beals, the Flashdance actress, and I was like, wait a minute, that's not her. Okay. All right. So Netflix. So let's talk a little bit about. Did you have a gap in your sort of history? Were we missing some stats for you in like 2019?
Yeah. So I spent 2019 overseas. I was deployed with the Army. I was in the Middle East from January to December of 2019. So I missed the 2019 Open because I spent that between 3 different countries.
Yeah.
And then the 2020 Open was on the tail end of my deployment because that was when they moved the Open to October. So the 2020 Open was on the tail end of my deployment. I lost some fitness over my deployment, but I was still able to do the 2020 Open, and then came back in 2020 and hit training hard to get ready for a new competition season.
Awesome. Very cool. What's the one thing you're looking forward to the most at Syndicate?
I'm really excited to meet everybody. I love CrossFit and the community that it has created, and to be able to meet other athletes with the same goals and aspirations as me, and to, meet the community and the fans and the organizers and like all the volunteers that show up, volunteer their time to judge, to change equipment, all that kind of stuff. Like that is the coolest thing to me, and I can't wait.
Yeah, it sounds like you're going to be a pleasure to follow too. You're one of the good ones. Sounds like you'll thank your judge and not make too much trouble. Go where you're supposed to go, corral at the right time. You won't be trying to jump in line at the, in the workout, in the warm-up area or anything like that. So you'll be on your best behavior, I'm sure.
Yes, I'm going to do my best.
Awesome. Well, my co-host Scott and I, we will be there at Syndicate. So
awesome.
Please, we'll look for you and we'll say hello, and maybe we can get some more interviews through the weekend.
Absolutely.
Do you have a big crew coming? Can you drive to where you're going?
We're driving. It's about 11 hours, but we're driving.
Right. Good enough.
My mom's coming. I'm super excited. This will be the first time that she'll see me like really compete in person. She went to like a local competition when I very first started CrossFit. So I think she'll have a lot of fun. And then like my coach, some other friends, and some people from the gym. I'm really excited.
Nice. Very cool. All right. Well, we look forward to meeting you there. Best of luck
to
you.
Me too.
And thanks for hopping on. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Good luck, Ellia.
Thanks.